I'm Rob Licuria, senior editor at Gold Derby, here with May Calamawy, who portrays Layla El Fawley in Moon Knight. You know what, May, I always wonder this, when you sign onto a series like this, did you fully
Yeah.
appreciate what it would mean to you personally and professionally to join the ranks of so many actors before you to become part of the MCU?
No. I mean, I watched the movies in chronological order of story and had it during COVID and just made that decision while watching that I would love to be part of something so grand and that has so much creativity and genius behind it. Um, but I didn't think that would actually maybe happen so soon because once I finished watching, I got the audition, and it really just sounded like she was just a character, uh, nothing really to her. Uh, I don't mean it like that, but I just mean not a superhero. And
Yeah.
then after I booked it a month in, they had told me they needed a body scan, and I realized she's a superhero. And just from there, I didn't know. I we were also not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
So much of the excitement comes with sharing it with people around you and just keeping it to myself. I really didn't know what it would entail or what it would mean. And then when we started filming and it was 2 months of intense stunt training, and then it was challenging. Also, the material is challenging because the circumstance is complex between Mark and Steven and their relationship. Um, So there is that it's very raw and dark, and so there's like a physical aspect to it and then also this emotional side to it. Um and the whole time I'd complain and not feel I was like, I don't feel like I'm funny. Like Marvel is fun and witty. And I feel like Layla is so serious and just going through so much. And it was later that I gave myself a break and I was like, well, she's going through a lot. Okay. And if
Yeah.
all I can do is be truthful to the experience, and that's what it was. Um,
Yeah.
but nothing has hit me like it has as it has now when it's come out and seeing how people are responding to it. That's really an incredible feeling, having the fans happy with the character and appreciating her and appreciating the story as a whole. Everyone involved did so much to make this happen. And this is my second show, so I
Yeah.
consider myself relatively new. And I just came in with beginners, mind, just like wanting to learn. And I feel like I got a master class in acting and in creating. There was so much collaboration, and they gave us a lot of artistic freedom, which was so much fun. And so yeah,
Yeah.
like you would never know. It's gonna feel different for everyone. For me, it just has felt like an incredible space to be free and share myself and share part of my culture.
Yeah, absolutely. I I immediately engage with the premise of the show, but as you say, it's dark and it's complicated. Like even when I'm writing about it, as a journalist, I have to make sure I get all the facts straight because it's so complicated. I wasn't familiar with Moon Knight or the comics, but now obviously I am. So there's a lot to unpack about the mythology and his backstory. So as a cast, how do you typically familiarize yourself with the material apart from the scripts? Like, did you have to go through a lot of um, introduction to who she is and who Moon Knight is as a whole?
I didn't know the comics beforehand, so I did read a few of them just to get an idea. But then I'm careful because I don't want to pull too much from a
Yeah.
story or a character and try to somehow implement it into the development of Layla, because Layla doesn't have a reference point and we
Yeah.
had a blank slate with her. And I really was just thinking, who is this woman who is Arab, grew up in the Middle East, now lives in London, but has probably had international experience, who fights, who likes to protect herself. Um, in a not so conventional way, who throws herself at any risk. Who, there were all these parts to her that I personally don't know this woman. I didn't know where to pull from. And I was more just trying to kind of develop the underbelly of like psychologically maybe where this person is, especially in relation to being Arab. That was important to me. Um,
Yeah.
and I was so focused on that. There there wasn't a lot of like, oh, I need to read the comic to understand how we would move in this way or how she'd react in this way. I didn't take any costume ideas from there. I didn't, that's for me personally. I enjoyed learning a bit more about Moon Knight and that experience. But even then, there's Oscar brought so much of his own experience to the role. And I don't know, when you're kind of, at least for me, living the story, um, I just had to be there in it. I
Yeah.
didn't have to
Yeah.
like worry so much about what I was grabbing from outside.
Yeah, and be true to who she was, I guess, internally, and so you can play her authentically. That makes a lot of sense to me. Production on the series finished some time ago. You're filming all over the place, Jordan, Slovenia, Hungary. When you look back, given that was quite a while ago now, what was your main highlight overall from the experience of shooting such a massive series like this?
Well, I stepped into it very intimidated. Just being there with Oscar and Ethan, and they have such an ease at which they move. And I had to constantly remind myself, like, they've been in so many productions. This is why they're so comfortable and
Yeah,
confident, free flowing with ideas. But they really taught me how to be generous. They're both extremely generous actors, and they'll spend so much time on someone else's character and helping develop that. And we're all aware that it's a tapestry, and we're all creating this one story. And I'm lucky that I was around people. I was around a lot of men, and I have to say I was not hitting against egos, and I wasn't that wasn't a story that I could tell myself this time. And it was
yeah.
really great to have that experience. Everyone was empowering me, and I feel like throughout it, my biggest journey as May is I really got a taste of what it's like to take more space and to use my voice more. And that was fun. And I just want to bring that into my future projects. It's really a gift to be able to watch how someone conducts themselves and how much space they take to almost give yourself that permission to step into it too.
That is so great to hear. Like it really is. What an amazing experience for someone who's still, pretty early on in their very long and amazing career. I was also thinking, given the people on set that you were working with, how critical to the authenticity of the show was it like to have someone like Mohammed Diab, who directed 4 of the 6 episodes, making creative decisions alongside the creator, Jeremy Slater?
I don't think it could have been done without him. Him and his wife, especially Sada Gohar, were so crucial to they were such advocates for Layla and for the representation, bringing in an Egyptian editor, the composer is
Oh,
Egyptian,
yeah.
the just the way they worked with Stefania Cella, our set designer, like in bringing that real. You can put up a set, but it's about bringing an essence to really feel like you're somehow capturing that energy. And Muhammad did that. And he just wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop fighting until he got everything he wanted. But honestly, it's a testament to Kevin Feige and Grant Curtis and the other producers for giving that freedom and allowing it and trusting. So much of the time there, especially in Western productions, you see the Arab world represented in a certain way. I'm only speaking for the Arab world now because I'm from there and that's what we're
Yeah,
discussing.
yeah.
You'll see it represented in a certain way, and there's just something missing. And we're learning that to have that closeness, you need to literally get close. with who you involve, and there is more of a hunger for that. And it makes me happy because I really think that we're gonna see that demand more and more. And hopefully not just on projects where we need to depict a culture from abroad, but someone from another country is going to have a complete different creative outlook, and it's going to challenge, and it's also going to bring up something beautiful that maybe we haven't seen before.
Yeah, it's terribly exciting. Like, um, you and the whole team behind Moon Knight got to portray and show a nuanced, modern, and complicated Egyptian world, and a world in the Middle East. The Middle East is so different from Morocco all the way to Iran. There's just so much. I mean, it's not one culture. And I'm hoping that shows like this, now that they're so successful, will allow us to get more of that and more authenticity. What's the feedback been like that you've heard when you're back in Bahrain or in Egypt or wherever in the Middle East? Do you hear a lot of positivity from people?
Everyone is thrilled. I feel a lot of pride. People feel seen, and I'm getting so many messages from women about how they're leaving their hair curly right now, and
Yes.
that just makes me so happy. That's like, if all of this was for that, it's enough. Um, Representation is so important, and accepting ourselves. If we don't see ourselves enough, where you can't help subconsciously feel like you're not good enough or you're not worthy, and that creates so many other problems. And so I hope this is a step in which people can feel that acceptance and just feel that they can take that space, and that people want to hear their stories. I can't represent the whole Middle East.
No.
Um, but hopefully this just makes people want to get up and share their side of it. And for all around the world, I have friends from all over, and I'm just curious. I'm like, by nature, such a curious person. I want to learn more, and I'm not the kind of person who sits and reads like book after book after book and just like has all this information. I'm a visual learner and an experiential learner, and so I'm hungry for it. And I'm
Yeah.
hungry to see the gaps being bridged between, productions in the West are like incredible, and they pave such a way for us. So naturally, there's a respect here. What happens when you respect something so much and you don't see yourself, it can be a bit debilitating. And so now to see yourself in a world that you have respected for so long, I'm curious what that will do for people. And as of now, it's been a very positive response.
That's really good. It's really good to hear. In the series finale, it's Layla becomes a Scarlet Scarab, which I was kind of hoping would happen, and it did. The
Oh,
Avatar.
you felt Scarlet Scarab was going to be it? Like
I
you knew?
just was thinking, I wonder, because I was reading up about it. I wonder if they're going to go down that road. But it was like, no, it doesn't look like Layla. I think Layla's just going to be Layla, and she's
Yeah.
a badass, and we'll leave it at that. And then these wings come out. I'm like, yes, yes. I mean, like, and then she becomes the Egyptian goddess Tara, or the avatar for her, sorry. And so now it's a new persona. Like, I have chills just thinking about how exciting it is for someone to be able to take on a whole new character like Scarlet Scarab. What was the initial thought that came to mind when you realized, when Megan Kasperlik had to design the costume for her? What were you thinking in your mind?
I had no idea. But that became my experience of Layla. This was not a character that I could develop on paper or a few months before going to film. She came to me as I was there through the stunt work. I broke my finger while filming a scene, my pinky, and I remember everyone was like, "Stop! We have to stop!" And I was like, "No, we're gonna keep going." And that's not how I would act. That's so I realized like there were all these small things that would happen that were out of character for me that informed who Layla was, and that's kind of how I took to this project and how I stepped into Scarlet Scarab. Everything got thrown. Even the Towerette moment where she possesses Layla, that wasn't planned. Muhammad came to me 30 minutes before and was like, "Oh, yeah, actually, Antonia Salib, who plays Taurat's not going to be in the chamber with you saying it, or it's not going to be said through someone else's body. It's going to be said through yours." And I remember thinking, I don't know the lines. I don't know how are we going to do this? Like there was no visual idea that we had spoken about. And so I just worked with Antonia for 10 minutes before. I kept telling her, keep doing it, keep doing it. I'm just going to keep saying the lines with you, copying your mannerisms. And then I just had to get thrown in, and that became who Layla was, and that just throwing yourself into it and not thinking, and somehow I this character got developed in these moments. And the only moment I did think about was the asylum, because I had a lot of fun with that one, where
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, this would be fun to be like, who would Layla be here, and what is she thinking about, and yeah, why is she here? And then I saw marshmallows and I used them, and suddenly people were like, is that Turkish delight, or is it a marshmallow? And it's so funny how much people hold on to these little things.
Yeah.
uh, but it's fun. It's all fun.
It just makes so much sense to me because Layla was thrown into it. I mean, and it just and I mean, she's a badass. She knows how to kick butt, and which means you must have done so much stunt work to get all of that right, so you're not half dead.
Yeah.
So was that fun? Was it hard? Did you think, why am I doing this?
What was fun was, well, because I didn't have a full idea of who Layla was, and we were still developing a lot of the scripts as
Yeah.
we were set, but a lot of the scenes we were still working on them. That was part of why I was so intimidated, because I wasn't just like, oh yeah, I've got her in my back pocket. But the training, I think I just threw myself into, not as an avoidance thing, but I was like, well, something I can work on is right in front of me. And I loved the stunt team so much. They were so friendly. We had such an instant connection. And I would look forward to working with them every single day. And really, what it did was, I can't say I'm this fighter now and I'm going to go out on the field and fight people, but it helped my stamina, which I've probably lost now because I haven't worked out in a while.
Yeah.
But the first week, it was 3 hours a day for 2 months. And the first week, I was so stiff and in so much pain. And I remember I cried, and my boyfriend was with me, and I was just like, I don't think I can. I don't know if I'm right for this.
Yeah.
And he's just like, stop. And somehow your body just adjusts. And a few days later, I was like, I'm fine. I'm not feeling that
Yeah.
pain. And that stamina was important because, for example, that scene in episode 4 where I'm running down that sand dune, that was tiring. We did that at like 4 a.m.
Mm.
And I had to keep going up, and it was a long way, and the sand was soft. So I had to keep going up and then running down, and it was like a one shot going by the truck and then going in it. And they'd just be like, May, go back up. And I'm like, okay.
Mm.
And so, but it was fun. And all that was because of the work that I had done before to, you know, increase my stamina and build it.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was such a blessing of an experience. I remember always feeling so grateful and really hoping other people who have this dream get to feel it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know if and when we're going to see more of Layla and Scarlet Scarab in the future?
I have no idea. I'm waiting just like you, and I'm ready.
Yeah, come on, let's get on with it, Kevin.
Chop chop. Yeah.
Chop chop. We want to see more. Like that was. It's just not enough. Like 6 episodes and we're done. Moon Knight. I want to see more of him, but I want to see more of you.
Thank you.
But yeah. Okay. So you know nothing yet. All right. I thought I was going to get something out of you, a big scoop, but no, there's nothing yet. But we will see more of you soon in Rami, which I'm really. This is my
Yeah.
last question. I'm like, hurry up, Rami. Well, how long does this take? But
Oh,
season 3's, you're done, right? You
yeah,
filmed
there was
season
this
3.
thing called the pandemic,
You know, this
that little
this
COVID
irritating.
thing that was
Yeah,
like annoying, that just got in
this,
the way of only
yeah,
our show.
yeah.
Um,
Only your show. Yeah,
yeah, it's well, I wrapped 2 weeks
yeah.
ago. They have one more episode to film, and fingers crossed, fall it'll come out. I'm
Okay.
really excited. If you like it, then I'm excited for you to see this season.
Oh, I can't wait to see more of Dina, more of Rami. It's one of my favorite shows. But speaking of Moon Knight, Layla. I mean, not Layla. May. Layla was amazing.
Thank you.
My 13-year-old daughter is like waiting to find a costume so she can be Scarlet Scarab, and I hope that it makes you feel
That's
proud that a lot
wild.
of
It
young
does.
girls.
Say hi to her.
I will. And thank you for your
Wonderful.
time today. That was just
Thank
great
you.
work.
This was wonderful.